Imagine taking an IQ test. Now imagine losing it. To a bird. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, scientists have spent decades discovering something that completely changed how we think about intelligence. There are animals that can solve puzzles faster than people. Remember, hundreds of faces for years recognize themselves in mirrors, use tools, plan for the future, and even trick other animals on purpose. Some of them have brains smaller than a walnut. Others don't even have bones. And one animal is so intelligent that scientists still can't fully explain how it does what it does. By the end of this video, you'll probably never look at animals the same way again. Intelligence isn't what you think. When most people hear the word intelligence, they immediately think about humans. After all, we built cities. We invented the internet. We landed on the moon. So surely we're the smartest creatures that have ever lived. But here's the problem. We're measuring intelligence by human standards. Imagine asking a fish to climb a tree. It would look completely stupid. Now ask a monkey to breathe underwater. Same result. Real intelligence isn't about doing everything. It's about solving problems that matter in your environment. And that's exactly where some animals become absolutely incredible. Let's start with one of the strangest creatures on Earth, the escape artist, octopus. An octopus only lives for around 2 years. Yet, during that short life, it develops problem-solving skills that rival many mammals. Scientists have watched octopuses unscrew jar lids, open child-proof containers, escape sealed aquariums, and even sneak into neighboring tanks at night, just to steal food, before returning to their own tank as if nothing happened. Some aquariums had to install security cameras because workers couldn't understand why fish kept disappearing overnight. The culprit, an octopus quietly taking nighttime hunting trips. But that's just the beginning. Unlike humans, an octopus doesn't have one central brain controlling everything. About 2/3 of its neurons are actually inside its arms. That means each arm can make decisions on its own. In a way, it's almost like the octopus has 8 mini-brains working together. Imagine your hand solving problems without asking your brain first. That sounds impossible. Yet, for an octopus, it's perfectly normal. Researchers have even observed octopuses collecting coconut shells, carrying them across the ocean floor, and assembling them later into portable shelters. That's tool use. Something once believed to exist only in humans. And somehow, things get even stranger. Because the next animal doesn't just solve problems, it remembers your face. The bird that never forgets. Crows? If you've ever annoyed a crow, there's a good chance it still remembers you. Scientists once wore creepy masks while capturing wild crows for research. Years later, the researchers walked through the same area wearing those exact masks. The birds immediately recognized them. Not only that, they started warning other crows. Within minutes, birds that had never even seen the original event joined in. The information had spread through the entire crow community. Even younger crows, born after the experiment, reacted with fear. Somehow, the knowledge had been passed down. Crows don't simply recognize faces. They remember them for years. They teach others who to trust and who to avoid. But facial recognition is only part of the story. When food is scarce, crows hide it in secret locations. Then, they watch carefully. If another crow sees the hiding place, they'll quietly return later, pick up the food, and hide it somewhere completely different. Why? Because they understand that another bird now knows their secret. In other words, a crow can think about what another crow is thinking. This ability, called perspective taking, is considered one of the building blocks of advanced intelligence. And incredibly, some crows can even bend wires into hooks to pull food out of containers without anyone teaching them how. They simply figure it out. But despite all that, the next animal might be even more surprising because it doesn't just recognize faces, it recognizes itself. Dolphins, the animals that have names. If you think dolphins are just friendly animals that swim next to boats, think again. Because dolphins don't just communicate, they actually call each other by name. Scientists discovered that every bottlenose dolphin develops its own unique whistle while growing up. Think of it like a personal name. Whenever another dolphin wants to get its attention, it copies that exact whistle. Imagine hearing someone across a crowded room, not shouting, "Hey," but perfectly imitating your voice. That's essentially how dolphins identify each other. Even more astonishing, researchers have found dolphins can remember these signature whistles for more than 20 years. That's one of the longest social memories ever recorded outside of humans. But names are only the beginning. Wild dolphins have been observed working together with incredible precision. Some create circles of bubbles to trap fish. Others wait outside the trap. Each dolphin plays a different role, almost like members of a professional team. And when one dolphin becomes injured, others have been seen supporting it near the surface so it can breathe. Not because they were trained, not because someone rewarded them. They simply understood another member of the group needed help. Then there's the mirror test. When researchers placed mirrors inside dolphin enclosures, the dolphins didn't attack their reflection. They didn't treat it like another animal. Instead, they inspected parts of their own bodies, turning, twisting, looking behind themselves, almost as if they realized, "That's me." Only a handful of species on Earth have ever passed this test, and one of them is even larger, even stronger, and perhaps even more emotional. Elephants never forget, and they never truly say goodbye. You've probably heard the phrase, "An elephant never forgets." Turns out, it's surprisingly accurate. In the wild, elephants can remember watering holes they haven't visited for decades. They remember migration routes hundreds of miles long, and they recognize individuals after years apart. But memory isn't what makes them extraordinary. It's empathy. When an elephant becomes trapped, others work together to free it. When a calf struggles to stand, the entire herd helps. When danger appears, adults immediately surround the babies, creating a living shield. But perhaps the most mysterious behavior happens after death. Scientists have repeatedly watched elephants returning to the bones of family members years later. They gently touch the skull, the tusks, the ribs, using only the tips of their trunks. Sometimes they stand silently for several minutes, sometimes much longer. They rarely show the same interest in the remains of other animals. It's almost as if they remember exactly who that elephant was. Do elephants understand death? No one knows for sure, but whatever they're experiencing, it's remarkably similar to grief. And yet, even elephants lose to the next animal in one very specific challenge. Chimpanzees, the memory masters. If you had to compete against a chimpanzee in a memory game, You'd probably lose. Badly. In one famous experiment, researchers briefly displayed numbers scattered across a touchscreen. After less than a second, the numbers disappeared. The chimpanzee had to tap every location in the correct order from memory. Easy? Not exactly. Most humans struggled. The chimpanzees didn't. Some completed the task almost perfectly. Again and again. Their short-term visual memory was so accurate. Researchers themselves were shocked. But intelligence isn't only about memory. Chimpanzees use tools. They sharpen sticks to hunt. They crack nuts using rocks as hammers. They strip leaves off branches to create fishing tools for termites. Different chimpanzee groups even develop different techniques. In other words, culture. Knowledge passed from one generation to the next, and their societies can become surprisingly complicated. They form alliances. They negotiate. They compete for leadership. They reconcile after fights. Some scientists have even compared chimp politics to human politics, which raises an uncomfortable question. If another species can remember better than us, use tools, teach its children, plan ed, and build complex societies, what actually makes humans unique? Well, the final animal might change your answer completely, because it doesn't have a large brain. It doesn't even have a backbone. Yet, together, millions of them can solve problems that no single individual ever could. And that's where intelligence becomes truly unbelievable. The tiny genius? Bees. Now, here's something almost impossible to believe. A honeybee's brain is smaller than a grain of rice. It contains fewer than 1 million neurons. The human brain? Around 86 billion. By comparison, a bee's brain is practically microscopic, so you'd expect bees to be little more than flying robots. But that's not what scientists found. In laboratory experiments, bees have learned to recognize human faces. They've learned to solve puzzles. They can even understand simple concepts like same and different. But their greatest achievement isn't what a single bee can do. It's what thousands of bees can do together. Imagine your entire city had to find a new home. No maps, no internet, no leader, no government. Just thousands of individuals making one decision. That's exactly what happens when a bee colony needs to move. Scout bees fly out in every direction searching for possible homes. When one finds a good location, it returns to the hive and performs the famous waggle dance. The better the location, the longer and more energetic the dance. Other scouts visit that location for themselves. If they agree, they return and perform the same dance. If they don't, the dance slowly disappears. No arguments, no fighting, no king or queen giving orders. The colony simply votes. And eventually, thousands of bees reach the same decision. Scientists call this one of nature's most efficient decision-making systems. No single bee understands the whole problem, but together, the colony behaves almost like one enormous brain. It's called swarm intelligence. And today, engineers use the same principles to design robots, artificial intelligence, internet routing, and even traffic systems. In other words, some of our smartest technology was inspired by insects. So, who's really the smartest? After everything we've seen, the answer isn't as simple as you might think. An octopus can solve problems using 8 semi-independent arms. A crow can remember your face for years. and warn an entire community about you. Dolphins give each other names and recognize themselves in mirrors. Elephants remember, help, and possibly mourn their dead. Chimpanzees outperform humans in certain memory tests and pass knowledge from generation to generation. Bees make group decisions so efficient that scientists copied them to improve computers. So, does that mean animals are smarter than humans? Not exactly. Humans are unmatched when it comes to language, technology, science, and building civilizations. But intelligence isn't one single ability. It's not a score. It's not an IQ number. It's a toolbox. Every species evolved the tools it needed to survive. Some animals are better at memory. Some are better at navigation. Some cooperate better than we ever could. Others solve problems in ways humans never imagined. For centuries, we believed intelligence belonged almost exclusively to us. Now, science is telling a very different story. Maybe the biggest mistake we ever made was assuming that intelligence had to look human. Because once you stop comparing animals to people, you realize something incredible. The natural world isn't filled with simple creatures. It's filled with minds, completely different from our own. And that's what makes Earth such an extraordinary place. The next time you see a crow, an octopus, or even a tiny bee, remember, you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at millions of years of evolution, creating a completely different kind of intelligence. So, here's a question for you. Which animal surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed discovering just how incredible our planet really is, subscribe to Thinkology, because every week we explore the science, the mysteries, and the unbelievable facts that change the way you see the world. We'll see you in the next video.